Welcome back, warriors and lore seekers. Today we are diving deep into the battle-hardened city-state of Septimont, a place that stands tall in the Renasida archipelagos as a testament to strength, survival, and unbreakable will. In this video, we'll explore everything that makes Septimont so unique, from its raw gladiatorial spirit to its fascinating parallels with ancient Rome's traditions of combat and myth. We'll also unpack the powerful symbolism behind characters like Ionu, Augusta, and Lupa, and tackle why Septimont's fierce rejection of the Order of the Deep sets it apart from neighboring Ragunna. Buckle up, this is going to be one hell of a ride through history, mythology, and the unrelenting pursuit of glory. Septimont is a city-state in the Renasida archipelagos, and it's all about strength and glory. Unlike Ragunna, which is more spiritual and traditional, Septimont thrives on competition and combat. The Septimontians' ancestors crossed treacherous seas and fought both nature and tacit discords to build their home, and that tough spirit still shapes the culture today. Gladiatorial combat is huge here, very Roman Colosseum vibes. The biggest event is the Great Agon, held every 4 years, where teams of humans and echoes fight for the ultimate honor. Winning the Great Agon can earn you recognition from Arsenosa, the Lioness of Glory, a legendary echo tied to the city's past. Septimont also has to deal with tidal blight, a nasty, calcified corruption that attracts tacit discords, keeping the struggle for survival very real. All in all, Septimont is a place where power and pride go hand in hand, and everyone's fighting for a place in the spotlight. Septimont draws clear inspiration from ancient Rome, particularly in its gladiatorial culture, values of martial prowess, and emphasis on strength as a path to glory and leadership. Just like Rome's arenas, where gladiators fought to the death for the entertainment of the masses and the favor of the elite, Septimont's Colosseum Olympus hosts the Great Agon, a massive gladiatorial competition held every 4 years. This event showcases two-person teams, one human and one echo, mirroring the Roman practice of pairing different classes of fighters and animals in elaborate spectacles. Both cultures share the idea that fighting well earns not just survival, but prestige and honor, echoing Rome's martial ethos that celebrated military success and personal bravery. Also, Septimont's society revolves around strength and victory, much like Rome's belief that power and conquest define a man's worth. Roman gladiators, often drawn from slaves and prisoners, were paradoxically both celebrated and marginalized, living embodiments of Rome's values of courage, endurance, and spectacle. In the same way, Septimontian gladiators fight not just for sport, but to secure their family's status, highlighting the same intertwining of blood and reputation that defined Roman social structures. Lupa's name directly references the famous she-wolf from Rome's founding myth, who nurtured the abandoned twins Romulus and Remus, future founders of Rome. Romulus and Remus were the legendary twin brothers who founded Rome, at least according to Roman myth. After being abandoned as babies, they were miraculously saved by a she-wolf who found them near the Tiber River and nursed them in her den. Eventually, they grew up and fought over where to build their city. Romulus killed Remus in the fight, then went on to found Rome in 753 BCE. The story shows how Romans liked to link their origins to something wild and divine, tying their identity to strength and survival. The she-wolf symbolizes the protective, fierce, and sometimes savage nature of Rome's destiny, and perfectly encapsulates Lupa's character. Not to mention, the coins on her design are reminiscent of the coins from ancient Rome. These coins feature the famous image of the she-wolf with Romulus and Remus, and they were a staple of Roman propaganda. They essentially stood as reminders to the city's divine origins and struggles. In Septimont, Lupa embodies a similar spirit. She's a guardian figure, fierce and proud, representing the city's resilience and the raw survival instincts that define its gladiatorial culture. Her presence likely reminds Septimontians of their own mythic beginnings and the fierce strength that shapes their society. the character or echo of Arsenosa. Septimont's Lioness of Glory is described as a legendary echo that was born in the era when Septimont's ancestors fought both natural disasters and tacit discords. She's not a human character, but more like a divine beast, a powerful echo that embodies the city's values of strength, heroism, and glory. Arsenosa embodies the same qualities as the legendary griffin from Roman and Greek mythology. Both figures represent the fusion of strength and vigilance. Arsenosa is also like the griffin, with its hybrid form of lion and eagle. Just as griffins guarded treasure and sacred sites in ancient myth, Arsenosa stands as the ultimate guardian of Septimont's glory and ideals, offering recognition only to those who prove their worth through combat. Both Arsenosa and the griffin symbolize the union of earthly might and celestial power, embodying the warrior spirit and unwavering guardianship that define Septimont's identity. This reflects how Roman myth often fused legend and politics, using gods and mythical creatures to justify and reinforce the city's ideals. Now, we do know that Septimont does reject the Order of the Deep's faith, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Even Septimont's harsh environment, tidal blight, and tacit discords parallels the constant threats faced by Rome from external enemies and internal struggles. In both worlds, survival isn't guaranteed, and victory comes through resilience and power. This intertwining of threat and strength shapes Septimont as a city where only the strong can thrive, much like Rome itself. Ionu, moon arrow that anchors shifts of fate, parallels the Roman goddess Luna, who was the personification of the moon. Luna was often depicted riding a chariot across the night sky and was associated with cycles, change, and sometimes protection during the night. Like Luna, Ionu represents a guiding celestial force, perhaps offering light in the darkness and symbolizing the cyclical nature of battles, victories, and losses that define Septimont's warrior culture. Augusta's name alone is a clear nod to Roman imperial power. In Rome, Augusta was an honorific title given to empresses and revered women, tied to the divine authority of the Emperor Augustus. For a little context, Augustus was the first emperor of Rome, basically the guy who turned Rome from a messy, backstabbing republic into a stable empire that lasted for centuries. As a possible sun goddess, Augusta aligns with Sol Invictus, the Roman unconquered sun, a powerful symbol of strength, triumph, and imperial divinity. Sol Invictus represented the eternal light that conquered darkness, and Roman emperors often linked themselves to the sun god to legitimize their rule. Can you tell pride is a very common theme here? In Septimont, Augusta embodies this connection between solar power, leadership, and the glory that warriors strive for. All in all, Septimont's design and culture are deeply inspired by Roman traditions of combat, honor, and myth-making. Its arenas, its obsession with strength, and its ceremonial honors echo a civilization that defined itself by conquest and spectacle, making it a powerful homage to one of history's most iconic empires. Septimont's relationship with the Order of the Deep, or rather its rejection of the order, highlights a fundamental difference between Septimont and Ragunna, despite both cities being part of the Rinascita archipelagos. At its core, this divergence is a clash between faith and force, between a society built on spiritual adherence and one forged through blood and competition. In Ragunna, the Order of the Deep holds a prominent place in both governance and daily life. Its teachings shape the social fabric, guiding the populace in matters of faith, morality, and politics. The Order's presence ensures that spiritual beliefs are intertwined with governance, giving Ragunna a sense of unity and purpose under a shared faith, no matter how wrong it is. For Ragunna, the Order's influence reinforces its identity as a community that values the guidance of higher powers and the pursuit of collective spiritual enlightenment. In contrast, Septimont stands as a bastion of independence from religious authority, with its citizens viewing strength, personal glory, and survival as the highest virtues. The city-state's history of overcoming tacit discords and natural calamities through sheer willpower and martial prowess has shaped its identity as a place where only the strong can earn respect. This mindset leaves little room for external religious dogma, especially from an organization like the Order of the Deep that preaches faith in the Sentinel Imperator and doctrines of submission to divine will. For Septimontians, the Order represents a threat to their hard-won autonomy. The idea of bowing to an external spiritual authority, no matter how benevolent, clashes with the city's core values of self-reliance and glory through combat. The refusal to allow the Order to preach within the city underscores a cultural firewall that preserves Septimont's identity as a city-state, where faith is earned through sweat and blood, not inherited or imposed. The rejection of the Order also shows how the tension between the Renesida archipelago's different ways of surviving the dark tide. Ragunna sought salvation through faith and communal resilience, while Septimont chose the path of personal strength and competition. This difference reinforces the idea that even within a shared geographical region, different societies can develop vastly different coping mechanisms and values, one rooted in spiritual unity and the other in martial honor. In the end, Septimont's resistance to the Order of the Deep isn't just about religion. It's about preserving a way of life that celebrates individual strength over collective doctrine. It's a testament to the city's fierce independence and a reminder that even in a world overshadowed by the dark tide, not all paths to survival look the same. So, there you have it. A city forged in fire and fury, standing in defiance of any force that would try to chain its spirits. Septimont isn't just another dot on the map. It's a living echo of Rome's blood-soaked arenas, and where the struggle for survival shapes every breath. Anyways, that's all from me today, folks. Thank you so much for diving into the Wuthering Waves of Septimont with me, and I hope you enjoyed this little prelude to Septimont. That said, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to stave off the dark tide, and also so you don't miss out on my next lore video. Once again, I am Oofie, and thank you so much for watching.